Now I have two young men, Michael and Daniel here, keeping me honest. They're going to ask me some questions. But what I have done since my last video is I've got quite a bit of stuff to send to the Ukraine, and I did say that I don't mind having a stand on things, even if they don't necessarily at first seem to pertain to everything immediately in life. Like, my biggest concern is either you take a stand on one thing or another, or, you know, basically often people do have an opinion, but they won't share it for fear of it not getting them what they want. So I'd say one of the things that's going around a lot in politics these days, particularly last mayor and a lot of the candidates, is to avoid certain topics, or even coming down on the side of something that's current news or a current event. Even because if it doesn't get your vote to be mayor of the city of Toronto, they're not interested. Myself, I drew the line before this campaign even started. I got to know intimately more about what's going on in Ukraine, and I already had formulated some of my own ideas. And basically, I decided that I had the means with a lot of my father's stuff that he bought out an outfitting store at one time before he passed away. And if I appealed to some of the people I know, I could get a lot of stuff to send to the Territorial Defense Forces. One of the people that work for me is Ukrainian, and I found out that a great deal of the forces that are defending Ukraine are a regular militia of sorts. They call the Territorial Defense Forces. They don't have very much. So you might say, well, the Russians are depleted and whatever. And though the West makes it sound like we're sending great material and arms to them in great numbers, to be honest, the bulk of the infantry, a lot of them don't have a lot of small necessities, from gun cleaning to things that create comfort or camouflage or whatnot. So I'm going to send whatever I can, and that's just, I want people to know I'm not going to stop doing it because now I'm running for mayor, first of all. Two, this is where I stand, so I won't hide suddenly because this war is still going on, and three, I pick sides, and I pick sides with Torontonians, and I'm picking sides with Ukrainians. Theory is a great phrase I picked up when I was at the rally that our Prime Minister, Premier, and Mayor came to, and at the time, and basically it boils down to this, and I don't know that if it was repeated on stage, but I heard it by somebody in the crowd, that if Russia stops fighting, the war will be over. Because as you can see, it's not offensive on the Ukrainians' part or NATO's. No one's moving into Russian territory. So the Russians could simply stop and it would be over and withdraw. But if the Ukrainians stop fighting, Ukraine will cease to exist. And anyone that understands bully politics or bullies even in the schoolyard, you'll realize pandering to a bully will get you nowhere. So really, there is no choice but to support the Ukraine. And it may seem like an oxymoron, but basically if you want peace, you have to make sure the Ukraine can hold steadfast enough that Russia will decide it's too much trouble and give up. Whether or not they do anything about their leadership, that's a whole other matter. Second of all, you can talk about who's fighting and what's force, but I'm going to tell you this. Take a look at the Russian regime, and capitalist isn't great either. Some of the leadership that's been, that's bandied about here, that's in the capitalist nations, the G20 and NATO. But besides that, it's clear that Putin and his regime are the far worse evil. And I'll use that term in this case because they're the aggressor, the belligerent, as it's often called in the International Court of Law when there's war crimes. They're the belligerent that started this, and it was unnecessary. Whether or not they're being taunted because there was no one step beyond West Germany way back when the Iron Curtain came down, that's irrelevant because really all those countries existed, and some that aren't even there now, existed at one other time as independent nations. It's their right to decide what they want to do, right? So they want to be a part of NATO or they want to be free, that's their business. And I'm going to side with the Ukrainians, and I'm going to pack up all this stuff because since my last video I've got a ton of stuff. Utility belt, more binoculars, gun cleaning stuff, holsters for officers, gun caps, repair things, trail cams, scope mounts. Call went out. A lot of my friends up north and in the city whose family used to hunt, or they are still avid hunters, great people, decided to pitch in. I dug deeper into stuff that I'm going to let go. It's hard. I'm sentimental. I used to hunt with my father. And then there's some other stuff that I have, and it's all going to the Ukraine. So I'm going to pack it up.
Thanks, Darren, for your help. Slava Ukraini!
I'll tell you what, I answered a few questions. Can you give me a hand packing? You know what this is?
Binoculars.
But you know where this is going?
Ukraine?
That's right. And you know why I'm sending it? Because I was doing this before the election, and I want people to know that where I stand on things. a lot of topics people might not want to touch because it's not a vote getting topic at the moment, or may not simply they think apply to the city of Toronto. But I've already got myself involved in this because the cameraman that I worked with during the last election was straight from the Ukraine, only a matter of months. And when I found out what's going on and I went to the rally at Nathan Phillips Square, I realized that we need to support the Ukraine, only because I believe a phrase I heard that really sank into me. Basically, no matter how you feel someone slighted someone or expected something or feels threatened, Russia is the belligerent that attacked. And if you look at it this way, it's Russia's war. They stop fighting, the war will end. If the Ukraine stops fighting, the Ukraine will end. But if the Ukraine is occupied and Russified, it's not going to work out. I played the band with guys from Moldova called Black Olives, and they have the same problem with Transnistria. And I knew about this before because I played with these guys 15 years ago in a band. I played for a number of years with them. And you know, the problem is the regime of Russia, you got to call it like it is. So I'm not going to stop doing this just because, guys, I'm running for mayor. So you were asking me questions about mayor, but I'm packing this stuff up because what I did is I made a video and I said, I'm going to send some of my dad's stuff. He passed away. He bought a lot of a sporting goods store out. Then I asked for people to donate stuff. Then I got some more stuff on my own. And I'm going to send all this stuff now to the Ukraine because I support them. And I'm picking sides because I want the Ukraine to hold fast so the Russians will realize they just got to quit this thing. And that way this will go no further. If they beat the Ukraine, then there's a lot of bad things are likely to happen.
Yes.
All right, we don't want that, do we? Plus, you know what? Honestly, I feel bad for the Russian soldiers too, to some degree, because a lot of these guys probably have no say in what they're doing. Many guys have deserted, won't go, or broken their own leg not to even go. So I need you to hand me this stuff, and I'm going to teach you a bit about packing. So ultimately, I get this bubble wrap, which is off-cut for free, because I go to a place that throws it out. That was a stand for doing repair. These are trail cams. Don't worry about that. It's okay. They're going to take what we can give them, and if they need a new case, let's put that aside. I'll put a new case. You put it over there, I'll get a new case for it. So hand me different things. We got trail cams, binoculars. A friend of mine gave me this utility belt that's back support. One thing I'd like to say is not all the people involved in the conflict on the Ukrainian side are as well supplied as you might think. You hear how the Russians aren't well supplied. Even though we're giving stuff to Ukraine, I spoke to some service personnel overseas, and they, with discretion, they told me as an aside, we should have been sending the stuff a long time ago before it got this far. Now it's really tough for everyone there. And a lot of these forces are called Territorial Defense Forces, which are glorified militia. Sure, they have Kalashnikovs, machine guns, they have camouflage clothing, but do they have gun cleaning equipment? Do they have flashlights? Do they have camouflage things? Could they use a trail cam or night vision? Of course they could, because the #1 forces and the commandos have it, but the Territorial Defense Forces were basically volunteers. Some of them even have World War II rifles, so I can give a scope to them, or I can give them things. I'm also going to give them these, a few scopes I got that basically they've got some scratches. Apparently they can do the glass repair there. So I'm going to send whatever I can. In the last video I asked people to give me some stuff, and they did. So now I'm not only sending my stuff, but a little bit more from other people. Things as simple as something that's not too bright that they could use and they could put their clothes in, like a backpack, or this goes on your back. You can carry all your kit in it. Believe it or not, these people are not all equally supplied. Well, when you hear that there's tanks and missiles being sent, that's great. But you know what makes the military go around? The infantrymen. He's gonna have to go and mop things up, and all the people that support him, they got to carry their stuff. They've got to, clean their guns. You can have all the high-tech stuff in the world, but you don't support these people, morale and effectiveness goes down. So I know this. At one time I thought I was going to join the Air Force. Mind you, I went to a lot of cadet camps, never did. But I know one thing: these people need help. And I don't trust that Russia will stop on its own. As a matter of fact, I'll just make a statement. Russia will not stop unless somebody stops them. So all we can do is supply the Ukrainians. So I consider that front my front. Does that affect us here in the city of Toronto now that I'm running for mayor and you come to ask me? In a way, no, but in a way, yes, because the high price of energy is going to be subject to that, what they're doing, because the price of energy is going to go up with inflation, which makes it even harder for us to live in Toronto. So I'll be more than happy for this to end when the Russians decide that they can't win and figure it out and get out of there. And that's the only option. Otherwise, if the Ukraine loses, we lose. You think Vladimir Putin and his friends are going to stop there? I'm saying even if you don't like capitalism, no matter what you're, libertarian, left, right, communist, let me tell you, if you're supporting Vladimir Putin's regime, you're delusional. if you feel he's been threatened somehow because there was a promise never to go one step past Eastern Germany 30 years ago, that's ridiculous. These are people that had their own nations. They're free to do what they want. So guys, yeah, just hand me stuff. It's all going there. Look at all this stuff.
Do you want these binoculars that are in this box too? Or?
We'll get just look at the boxes that are here. That's a nice little wrist lanyard. They could tie something on so it wouldn't get lost. It's camouflage. This is portable, so you could just take a firearm that needs repair somewhere in the field and open this up and put it there and work on it. You know, little things like this. People aren't using this stuff. A lot of Canadians, I still say, get a hold of me or do it yourself. Find someone that's got a connection. Lots of Ukrainian people are sending stuff through many channels. Go get the stuff. If your family's not hunting anymore, we're consumers here. We've overconsumed. Everybody's got something. So just go get it. If your family doesn't hunt anymore, just donate it. Ask someone from Ukraine to, maybe a community center. If I get a bunch of stuff together, can you send it over and it'll get where it's get? They're going to hand it out informally to people that can use it. Let the big boys send Leopard tanks that hopefully have been serviced and are getting there quickly because they need your help right now. And I'm one other prediction. June is the month when everybody attacks Russia. Napoleon did it in the 22nd, Hitler in the 26th, Mongol armies, other people from the steppes rolled through that area of the world when the ground is hard. And it's coming in the month of June. So you watch, this is going to escalate, and pretending that it doesn't affect us in Toronto, not taking a side. I'm not that kind of guy, all right? So if you want to vote for me for mayor and you think that I'm supporting the wrong side, then I guess you won't vote for me. But I take sides and I make commitments, and even if they're tough ones, that's what I want them to know. And okay, let's put that in the next box, guys. Okay, we're almost done. I need to put the bubble wrap. That's for the next box. Hang on a second.
What about this box?
Okay, well that box is handled. We have to seal it up to make sure things are safe and it gets there. You want to put a little bubble wrap in? Okay, we're good. So I was using some of the fabric things to wrap around the metal things, right? And when you ship things, I use used boxes, so you've got to make sure you get all the other, labels off so it doesn't go to the wrong place.
What? Is this heavy?
No,
this.
And I'm lucky. Someone that I know gives me a deal to ship this to someone in the U.S. who sends it. In turn, sends it on to the Ukrainian forces. Okay, guys, that's one box. So I'm going to sit here, and what do you say we go for a slice of pizza and we come back and finish packing this a little later? Are you guys getting hungry?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a break.
На фронті, так і в Україні загалом вона здається, що вона заспокоїлася, але насправді це зовсім не так. Я б хотіла зробити зараз хвилину мовчання, щоб згадати всіх, хто загинули в цій війні.
Russia, stop the war!
Війна продовжується, що вона нікуди не ділася, що продовжують гинути наші друзі, наші рідні, що наші близькі потрапляють і в полон і отримують величезні травми. І що нам потрібно продовжувати нашу боротьбу, продовжувати намагатися донатити, продовжувати організовувати протести, тому що якщо ми припинимо це робити, крім нас ніхто не зможе допомогти.
I think it's important that Canadians understand we have to come down on the side of the Ukraine cause because the Russians are the belligerents and they are the invaders. There's no support that should be for Russia in any way. I'm even a little unhappy with our Prime Minister. We could be sending natural gas to Europe, which would deprive Russia of money they make off selling energy to Europe. So that is it's kind of a disgrace for my country. So that's another reason I wanted to support things and send stuff. So I've sent binoculars enough that a whole brigade has literally got one piece or another from me. But that's the least I can do because I really I'm on your side and I really feel bad about what I've seen. Slava Ukraine, and all I can say is that you guys, it's commendable that you come out here and you make a statement because Canadians have to learn and listen. It's not enough that the media do it because they're not doing a good enough job. Thank you very much.
For Ukraine!
Weapons for Ukraine!
Weapons for Ukraine!
Weapons for Ukraine!
More than 600 prisoners of war, members of the Azov, one of the most famous battalions, are still in prison.
Free Azov soldiers!
Free Azov soldiers! Stand with Ukraine! Stand with Ukraine! Stand with Ukraine! Stand with Ukraine!
Дуже дякуємо Даррену, який надав нам оптичний приціл, біноклі та щітки. Чекаємо на допомогу, бо нам таких прицілів треба ще багато. Дуже дякуємо. Русні пізда, Путін хує.